would love to hear a little bit about kind of this switch into software. It looks like you were selling, life insurance. You had kind of a more of a traditional kind of approach to the industry, but you were building tech maybe, and then you saw that that was working extremely well, and then you pivoted. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, I'd say at a high level, when Jonathan, my co-founder, and I founded Bestow, our vision was to bring software to a very antiquated industry and make life insurance, digital rather than just analog. And our kind of our view was to create and increase financial stability for millions of Americans with very relevant financial products of life insurance protection. The industry needed to modernize and it needed to, enhance its software capabilities to be able to allow for products to be much more transactional. So from the beginning, our thesis was to build very deep with our technology platform. We started as an MGA, so as an agent for another carrier, but we built all of our own application underwriting software all the way through binding and policy issuance and became our own TPA, third party administrator. So from the beginning, we were very deep in our software build. We were a technology company from the outset.
Mm-hmm.
But what we did is we kind of proved out our software and built it and proved it in the market on the consumer side first. Initially as an MGA and then as our own carrier. We bought a carrier, we became a 48 state carrier ourselves, working with reinsurers, and really over a 5-year period, proved out kind of our algorithms and digitizing the entire process. It became one of the top term life insurance sellers within the US. And then ultimately, as we proved out the capabilities, we had some carriers reach out to us and be very interested in our technology because the industry is so antiquated with the adoption of like modern API cloud-based solutions. And so then we started to service some carriers on the enterprise side and then came to kind of the decisioning of are we going to really build ourselves out as a consumer business or as a SaaS company,
Mm-hmm.
which was a journey and a very difficult decision to make because we had a very healthy consumer business. But
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, looking at kind of directionally where we wanted to go, there are very few companies that are really best in class at enterprise and consumer. And
Mm-hmm.
so we had to make this decision. Are we going to go all in on enterprise? And we see that to be the best way to monetize the platform that we had built, or do we want to continue build out a carrier? And we made the decision that we wanted to enable, carriers and that we were best positioned in the market to leverage the software via an enterprise SaaS solution versus a consumer business.
Mm-hmm. And is that enterprise SaaS solution mainly focused on more of the customer acquisition end, business development, that kind of function? Because, like looking at kind of your website, there's a breadth. It seems like there's like other things you can offer. But then maybe your history, your legacy is in more of the kind of go-to-market and customer acquisition side.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because the industry is made up of a bunch of point solutions where you're either an e-app provider or you provide underwriting software to the industry or you TPA and provide, third-party administrative software. We are really unique in the sense that we are end-to-end a vertical software platform for the life and annuity industry.
Mm.
You look at other industries kind of orthogonal to life insurance, whether it's Shopify and e-commerce, or it's Guidewire on the property and casualty side, or it's Procore on the construction management side, when you can actually deliver a vertical software platform that has the breadth of really end to end, you can capture so much value and differentiation for your clients compared to just a point solution. And the life and annuity industry is made up of point solution providers that carriers have to work with 15 to 20 different software providers for a single product,
Mm-hmm.
right? For a term product or for a type of permanent product or for annuity. And you can manage like how difficult it is to navigate through all those different providers, stand up a new product, iterate on those products, change requirements, launch new distribution channels. So we go to our clients and say, you want to refresh a product, you want to launch a new product, you can do it all with us with a speed that is incomparable to anyone else, and funnel performance because we built ourselves really as a consumer business from started application to submitted application to converted application what we can deliver our clients is just fundamentally a step change compared to anything else in the industry. So we do it all. And our ambition and what we're doing with our carriers and how we certainly anticipate continuing to grow and build a business is to be that vertical software platform for the life and annuity industry, not just a single, point solution,
Mm.
but the true end to end, which is what our clients are really capturing the value from when we can deliver that level of access to them to our platform.
So you had been building all of these functions from the beginning before even the decision to go full on enterprise software.
Yeah, our contestable thesis that I think we've proven out is that the only way to truly digitize something that is so difficult in the sense, particularly from an underwriting side, like auto insurance, it's much more transactional, right? Like you underwriting, within 12 to 18 months whether or not you underwrote accurately for the most part.
Hmm.
Life insurance, you're underwriting for 10, 20, 30 years. So you need to be in the market for 3, 4, 5 years if you have new algorithms and using like data versus like a fully underwritten medical exam to prove out that your algorithms are accurate.
Hmm.
And so the only way, in our view, to actually become a true enterprise SaaS solution in the life and annuity space, for us at least, was to be in consumer first, prove out the end-to-end solution and the underwriting algorithms, and then be able to take that to our carrier clients and say, we've been there. We're a peer in capabilities, not in size and scale, but
Uh-huh.
we're a carrier ourselves that we've proven this out. And now you can leverage that to benefit from you've got the brand, you've got the balance sheet, you've got distribution, you've got product expertise. Let us be the technology enabler and provider to you that we can do in a very unique way to compare to anyone else.
How do you size the market? I'm sure you've done this like a million times over, but like when you think about like the number of carriers and then how you sell your kind of software into that, like your maybe you have like different tiers, or I don't know if there's like some element of a consumption model there, but curious
Yeah.
how maybe how your product is offered and then how you look at how you size the market for yourselves.
So there's 500 plus life carriers in the US
Hmm.
alone. We're really going after the largest carriers initially just because we want to establish, a market leadership and grab market share. And fortunately, we've had just phenomenal carrier clients who trusted us, who have confidence in us, who've helped us kind of make the shift from consumer to enterprise and who've believed in us. And I think that we really work with them as strategic partners, not as a vendor. I
Hmm.
think it's very important, given what we're doing with our carrier clients, for us to work closely with each other to help enable them to do all the things that they want to achieve and not really view the relationship as purely transactional or as a vendor model. And that's really worked well for us. So we're selective about who we work with, given just the number of resources and just the organic growth with every carrier. Typically, they put one or two products on our platform and then they perform, and then they come back and want to put products three, four, and five. And we're still expanding a lot of our capabilities, moving from term products to permanent products. And there's a whole array of different types of permanent products. And then this next year, we're going to be launching into annuities. And annuities is just as large of a market opportunity as protection on the life side. The life carriers are typically broken down by, actually protection-based products, term and permanent products, and then annuities. And the systems that run those two businesses and the teams that operate those businesses are distinct and different. So our focus is expanding in the US
Hmm.
with large carrier clients that we can expand with and launch one or two products with, and then have organic expansion from there. We demand, quite a bit of, because we're offering the full stack and like rather than breaking it up on a per vendor basis, they're coming to us and having confidence in us and being able to provide that full stack, platform.
Hmm.
So our revenue model I can just share is largely usage based.
Hmm.
We want to be aligned with our clients that we win when they win, and when they're putting applications and business through our platform is when we're transacting and driving revenue rather than like massive development fees or significant requirements per year that just make it kind of burdensome for the client. We want to win when our clients win.
I see. So is there an element of like a consultative approach here or like a tech services portion to the offering?
There is, it's not a revenue driver for us. Like I
Yeah.
think pro serve and like some professional services is certainly an area that we can expand and grow into. Um, we really look at it in working closely with them on what type of product that they either want to refresh or launch. Many
Mm,
carriers are trying to shift into transactional products. They want to take something that has required days or weeks to bind an issue, which you can imagine there's a lot of abandonment, right? An agent works with a client and an applicant, and they want to help get that applicant covered. Historically, for the industry, it's been difficult because there's this underwriting process, and you have to work with their doctor and get medical records and get a fully underwritten exam. We're digitizing and automating all of that. So we work closely with our clients and all of our learnings and our experience to work with their teams to develop those types of transactional products. And then how do they want to underwrite? What data sources they want to use? Typically, you have to file a new product with, the departments of insurance to get that approved. And then we've got to work closely with them on how they plan on distributing it. Underneath all of what we do is an intelligence layer that because we really built ourselves out on the consumer side, for the industry, data has always been bifurcated between like an agent going and getting data that is typically held back from the carrier that makes it difficult for the carrier to see much of the data for the
mm,
applicant and the agent, and then to have access to that data when they work with us from attribution to application to underwriting all the way through policy issuance and then post-issue lapsation and beneficiary changes and all sorts of dynamic things that happen to the policy. It's all within our data platform that allows for us to be able to provide a lot of like very unique data and analytic insights to our
mm.
clients that they can leverage.
You mentioned the mission. I'm curious how specific that mission is. Meaning like you've got these companies like Amazon that say that they want to be Earth's, most customer centric company. Like, how specific is your mission?
What we Our mission internally is to increase financial stability for millions of Americans.
Okay.
And that actually uh, has kind of parlayed and kind of worked from when we were a consumer, we were doing that directly in the market. But now ultimately in enterprise, we feel, given the software platform that we've built, that we can better achieve that mission by being the technology solution for the entire life and annuity industry, both in the US and eventually internationally, where every carrier executive team is looking at what we have to offer and say, and we want them to say, we can't really build this in-house. We're not a technology company, and we can't keep the pace up of what Bestow is doing.
Hmm.
And so it's going to be very difficult to do this internally. And then externally, there's really nobody else that even competes with Bestow in the market, delivering the value across all of these products and their capabilities. That's our vision, right? That is what, but all of that is housed within the really increasing financial stability and security for millions of people.
Hmm.
Fortunately, we're not selling and we're not enabling products that are unnecessary. If you look at just the dynamics of U.S. household wealth and consumption in the states, like these products are very relevant and needed.
Mm.
The industry has done a phenomenal job of serving the high-end, more affluent market.
Hmm.
But for millions of people who don't necessarily have significant savings, or should something happen to them, and oftentimes leans on like friends and families in the community, which was where life insurance actually uh, it was invented with communities of small people and small communities to say, look, we need to help our friends and family out for losing somebody who was the income earner. And there's been a little bit of a loss of that kind of here in the US because so many people don't have protection who need protection.
Mm.
And so the best way I love to think like the best use of technology is to increase the quality of human life
Mm.
in some capacity. And that I think resonates with our team because we're actually like providing a product and a service that hopefully really gives people more stability and security that helps them live a better life.
Awesome. I would like to touch on your investors. You've raised a considerable amount of capital. You've got Goldman Sachs that I believe led the last round. NEA is also one of
Yeah.
your investors. So it's a great list of highly reputable investors. Tell us about the value they bring aside from the financial capital.
I think NEA, they led our seed round. And then Valar, which is, a group, James and Drew out of New York, are major investors, in Bestow. They're a fintech, primarily a fintech investor. They really helped us in kind of the earlier stages of the company, continue to think about how we build, and they were, confident and obviously kind of backed us up and kind of what we were looking to build. Ultimately, that they felt confident that we would, develop and earn value over time. And then as we made the shift to enterprise, we've had, Goldman Sachs, Smith Point. Smith Point is Keith Block, who's the co-CEO of Salesforce. They co-led the round, and they're bringing in a different level of kind of operational and execution expertise as we scale the business.
Hmm.
We're excited to have them on board. We've got a great list of investors that all kind of offer value in different ways.
Hmm.
On the Series D, we really looked for a couple new investors with Goldman and Smith Point to really help us go from where we are today to hundreds of millions of dollars in ARR uh, and helping us to be able to scale to that level of maturity, which is, just different problems to solve going
Hmm.
forward. Yeah, I think different investors bring uh, at different stages of a company expertise that should be kind of utilized at that stage and size. And fortunately, we've had investors kind of all along the way, and they continue to really back us and are enthusiastic about the vision that we've set forth to accomplish.
Remote first culture. How do you approach that to still have this feeling of like you're all in it together? You have a great rapport with your team members. What are some of the things you do to have a strong, remote culture?
Yeah, I think it's something you have to be very cognizant of. It's hard, but we do, all hands every other week. We do a quarterly meeting in town hall with the founders, every quarter, which I think is great. We do pulse surveys. We have Slack channel called Props that everybody is giving each other props almost on the daily. It's my favorite Slack channel that we have. Things to try to unite and still keep people connected. We encourage teams to come to our Dallas office as frequently really as they'd like to do on-sites, to meet
Hmm.
together face to face, which is highly valuable. My preference is to have everybody in the office every day. I love being in the office, but it's just not realistic, kind of given um, how we're positioned, that we've, hired across the US. And we ultimately made the decision that it would be more ideal for us to have the right talent and team rather than the geographic location. And it's something that we are constantly iterating on and finding new ways to make sure that people feel connected and excited about, working at Bestow and for the team. It's not a oh, we're going to check the box, right? It's a constant kind of iteration and discussion.